Hi, and thanks for stopping by. You know, in our 22 years in business, I'll tell you what, customer service, we just see time and time again is the foundation of what makes a business successful or not. You know, Benjamin Franklin says the bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. And we've seen that in action, you know, where customers have started out all happy because they feel like they got really good value for money until they then get poor quality. Poor quality as in service, poor quality of maybe the product or the goods or the offer actually gets seen. And so you don't know what the customer expects when they come and do business with you. So setting clear expectations is obviously a really important part of that. But then how do you deal then with customer service issues as they arise? So we've seen the good, the bad, and the very ugly in customer service before we go in. In fact, we've had clients where they've had a range of escalations of customer service issues, and there's one in particular that springs to mind that I wanted to share with you. So we had a client where they had they'd had a customer absolutely exasperated, and they listened to some call recordings that the customer mentioned of the calls that they'd been frustrated in. They listened to the call recordings, and they were shocked. They heard the person on the other end of the phone, the customer service rep, saying, "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" Now, what that tells me is that that's a person who's absolutely just lost all motivation to even bother caring about the customer. So that tells me there's a few things going on in that organisation. Either they've lost the ability to motivate their staff, they could be underpaid, they could be so sick and tired of escalated issues because they just aren't providing the right service. And so they're just constantly having to deal with customer service issues. Or it could just be that they're poorly led. It could be that they just don't have the tools to cope with the kinds of calls that they're getting. And so one of the first things that we did when we started working with that client, when they called us out of exasperation saying, "This is what we've heard, how many of our other staff are doing this?" And so we went in, and what we did was an assessment, and then we designed some tailored training workshops. One of the examples of how we tailored that is we got some of the common customer service scenarios, including escalations, and we taught them the tools on how to deal with those, how to de-escalate, how to diffuse potentially conflicting situations in life as well as on the phone. So we try and teach the skills as in life as well as on the phone or face-to-face with your customers. Then what we did was we did coaching post that, and we did quite a long-term coaching program with that client, and we also tailored some team building events, and that became something that they look forward to doing every year, where we took the whole team out and we tailored an event based on what we knew about that team. For example, if a manager is quite outspoken and tends to take over, then in one situation we gagged the manager, so they weren't allowed to speak the customer in the team building event. So that was fantastic to watch how then the team flourished and how they then different leaders within the team kicked in. So everything that we do is tailored. We love that part of our jobs because we get to know our clients so well, and then we tailor, and then we make sure that what we do is absolutely going to fit and be applicable and be easy to apply, which is really, to me, is the most important thing. It's all very well to sit around a table and say, yeah, that sounds good, but then get back to your job and not actually be able to apply it into anything without taking some serious thought and having to think about, how do I apply it? That's our job, in my eyes, is to make sure that it's easy to apply for your staff. What happened in the end with that client is they entered awards, they won awards, they took out some pretty high awards in their industry, and so they were just buzzing. They ended up just going from strength to strength. What else happened was that they scored some really high service levels. So their service levels were up on a TV screen, and their service levels were consistently high. They also increased, obviously, customer satisfaction. I mean, there ended up being no escalator calls because they were tooled up on how to handle the escalations where customers were getting frustrated. And the last thing was that the staff were happier and more empowered and able to resolve quickly and easily the issues that were going on within the organisation. So my question to you is, how would you score your team? When did you last listen to them on the phone or observe them face to face? When did you last ask your team about how important customer service is and where they think they rank themselves and what things they think they could do differently? So I guess the next step for me is I can give you a couple of tips on what to do next with you and your staff. So the first thing is check that your staff have a really clear understanding of what customer service excellence looks like. Excellence, not just customer service. Oh, you could say this, do this. What does excellence look like? You know, is there somewhere that you can go the extra mile? Is there something extra that you can do? Because I tell you what, the customers, the company, well, our customers that we have that differentiate themselves by providing excellence in customer service get the business. They get the business over competitors because often that's the only differentiating fact. If your pricing's about the same, that's the thing that's going to make a difference, how your staff build that relationship with the client. So check that your staff have a really clear understanding of what excellence looks like. Is it in their KPIs? How does it look in their KPIs? How have you provided them the tools so that they know what excellence looks like? What kind of input have they had to that? Put it on your next meeting agenda. So get them to have a discussion around what excellence looks like and whether or not they think they meet the mark. Get them to score themselves. Find out what the roadblocks are to them actually wowing their customers. So what are the roadblocks to providing excellence in customer service? And then you can also offer them these 2 tips. I hope these are useful for you to offer your staff. So the first one is remind them that the customers buy off people they trust. So the first thing they can do in the beginning of a discussion is build trust with the customer. And the way that we teach to do that is to use process statements. Tell the customer what you're going to do with them. So I'm just going to ask you some questions. And then the next part of it is always provide a benefit. So process, benefit. So I'm going to ask you some questions so that I can find the best solution for you. Let me ask you some questions so that I can make sure that we get you on track. Let me ask you some questions so I can resolve that for you. See the benefit to the customer? The second one is put yourself in the customer's shoes. If you've got an escalated situation, make sure that you get your staff totally understand how to go with the customer in that flow. If the customer's coming in at your staff, the worst thing you can do is have your staff going back at them like that staff member saying, well, what do you want me to do about it? So the best thing they can do is go with the flow with the customer. So the customer comes in saying, I'm upset about this. This is blooming terrible. What's happened? The best thing the staff member can do is put themselves in their shoes and go with the flow with them. So the way that they do that is they say things like, oh, look, that's totally unacceptable what's happened for you. You know, how awful, how frustrating for you. Let me see what we can do to solve that for you. So empathize and then talk about finding a solution. That's what the customer wants. They want to know that you've listened, that you feel how they're feeling, that you understand it, and that you can seek a solution with them. And get in touch with us so that we can do our thing. So how can we do business? How can you do business with us? Well, the first thing that we can do is we can meet either over Teams or Zoom, and we can have a cuppa together over that, and we can talk about what your feelings are, what your thoughts are, what your observations are, and then I can go away and put together a tailored proposal for you. We can also meet in person if you're in Auckland, so I'd love to do that. Or you can fly myself or Russell to wherever you are in New Zealand or Australia. The other option is you can send your staff to attend a public course. So just click on our link in our website to public courses and see what we've got on offer there. We've got regular dates for public courses where staff can come along and learn some simple tools and techniques to apply straight away when they get back. And then the third way is that we can come to you in-house and we can tailor something that we provide in-house for you and your staff, which will always include assessment, training workshops, coaching, and then potentially team building events if that's what you like too. So that's a whole information session all in one go. You're welcome, and I hope to hear from you soon.